What's good? It's your boy Mixtape Moth, and today I'm gonna hit y'all with a review of the Jim Jones album El Capo Deluxe. Let's get to it. Jim Jones is a Harlem rapper, entrepreneur, and member of the legendary Harlem, New York rap collective, The Diplomats. Let's just be all the way real. When he started out, he was not the most sought after member of the group. While Jim Jones always had a knack for making good albums, he was clearly viewed as the weakest link out the crew. Now, personally for me, I always liked and respected Jim Jones because his music had a lot of emotion to it. You could feel it, and there was that motivational quality to it as well. That's something that I also get from artists like Jeezy and Nipsey Hussle. After releasing really dope projects like Hustler's Poem and Pray for Rain, Jim had dropped a series of underwhelming projects, one so bad that I would never care to revisit them. But Jim Jones didn't settle for mediocrity. He honed his skills, sharpened his lyrical sword, and returned with a fire album in 2018 called Wasted Talent. It had beats from the production duo who really helped give Dipset their signature sound, the Heatmakerz. This was followed up by El Capo in 2019, which was produced entirely by the Heatmakerz. It was my favorite project of the year, and I actually gave that album a rating of 4.5 mics. So this time around, Jim Jones decided to hit us with a deluxe version of El Capo roughly 1 year later. Seems a little strange to me that he chose to drop a deluxe 1 year after the fact, but I mean, I think he could have easily called this album El Capo 2 and it would have made much more sense, and probably it would have been easier for fans to locate on streaming services, because personally, when I looked for it on Tidal, it said Jim Jones El Capo 2019 Deluxe. 2019? But let's get into this album. It's 15 brand new tracks. If you would play the whole El Capo, including the deluxe, it would run an hour and 44 minutes in length. Once again, Jim recruited the Heatmakerz to try and rework the magic that was found on their 2019 album, and I think for the most part that they delivered. Some of the same guests that were featured on El Capo reappear on this deluxe. Artists like Marc, Scibilia, who he utilizes for a lot of hooks, Rain, Mano, Fred the Godson, R.I.P., Drama, B2R, Dave East Conway, and Axel Leon. But with that being said, let me just jump ahead into a track-by-track breakdown. The album kicks off with the track Election. This features Marc, Scibilia, and Joel Santana. It has a suspenseful beat that sounds just right for an intro song. Jim Jones opens up his verse with some political bars. He states, "Trump turned the country upside down. It's just deception. If you're not ready to hold your ground, then get protection, because these brothers ready to purge the next recession." Marc Scibilia on the hook doing his crooning was alright, but I thought Joel's gave one of his best verses in a while. His wordplay was fire. This sounded as close to vintage Joel's as we are probably going to get, but yeah, this was a solid opener. Track 2, entitled Anybody, features R&B vocals from Sandra Conte. This could be looked at as somewhat of an introspective record. He's looking back at his past, amazed that he's made it this far. This beat sounds like it would have been fitting for Nipsey. I could also see Mozzie rapping to a beat like this. It was a cool song, not one of my favorites, but it was still solid. I actually think it probably would have been more effective later in the track list, since it was a slower song, especially after the intro. I wanted something to have a little more energy or impact for my second song, but that's just my opinion. The third track, Chasing That Feeling, is the first song that really grabbed my attention of the first three. I like the feel-good and melodic production. I also enjoyed the hook from Marc Scibilia. He was giving me those Billy Joel vibes, or someone from that particular era. But on here, he's talking about the rush that we all chase, or maybe it's just the risk takers, whether it's the thrill of the hustle, the addiction of a drug, getting a brand new car, living the fast life, whatever your thing is, we're all trying to chase that feeling. I really dug his second verse, where he talks about an older head who gave him the same advice that Nas gave the kid on the project bench in the movie Belly, about slowing down and moving cautiously. It was really just a vivid picture that Jim Jones was able to paint here. But yeah, I really enjoyed this track. Up next is MMTC, which stands for Mink Matching the Coupe. This has Rain on the hook and a featured verse from Vado, another Harlem representative. I really like the upbeat and lively sample used here. It's hard to make out the sample exactly, but it sounds like it could be a Spanish song. Regardless, it does manage to give you that uptown Harlem feel. What follows is Father Forgive Me featuring Mano. This song is about them being products of their environment. On the chorus, Mano states, "Father, forgive us. It was the ghetto that turned us to sinners. How could you blame me? It wasn't my fault that I followed the dealers." This is a reoccurring theme in a lot of Jim Jones' music. I like the sped up soul sample production on this one. It had that classic Heatmakerz sound. Right after this is For the Better featuring Drama Beats Who Are on the hook. I'm not exactly sure if that's how you are to pronounce his name, but it has a slower piano beat with some soft harmonizing. It does remind me of some production that you would find from Sue Surf, Mozzie, Lil Durk, and G Herbo. Y'all know the vibes I'm talking about. On here, Jim Jones is speaking for the trenches, for those in the struggle, for the ones with family and friends who are locked up. It's a heartfelt and poignant song for the streets. Up next is Part of My Thoughts featuring Dave East. The two are rapping over a darker piano loop. I like this beat, but it wasn't nearly as impressive to me as the one they recorded in 2019. This is my opinion. The two are basically reminding us of their street ties. Dave East's feature was solid, but I liked how Jim Jones opened up his verse. Pardon, I'm still collecting my thoughts from all the nickel and diamond and the oppression that I fought. Felt better when I hit the dealer and left in a Porsche. I'm surely not the type that you could press or extort. Following this is Everything with Marc Scibilia. Once again, he's singing before the beat drops. I do like both of Jim's verses here. He's doing a lot of reflecting on his past as a dealer. He's kind of dropping some game also and just putting things into perspective. Right after is Try Again featuring Conway the Machine. This has a sped up and chopped up soul sample. It sounds like vintage Dipset production. Both Conway and Jim Jones are rapping about survival and pushing through despite the haters and despite almost being victims of the block. I like this production a lot. It's definitely one of my favorite beats and favorite tracks from this deluxe. Track 10 is Been Like That featuring Drama on the hook. This one is somewhat of a trap soul banger. The beat and the chorus are just more current sounding. This is something that the younger dudes will probably vibe to, but I thought Drama delivered a pretty solid and catchy hook. What follows is Bad Boys. This is a posse cut featuring Axel Leon, Nino Man, and Fred the Godson. They rap over a variation of the sample from the old Lox and Biggie song You'll See back in 1996. It's not exactly the same beat, however, you can still detect the sample. What I liked about this track is that everyone was just going in over this simple loop. It had that real hip-hop feel where all that matters is a beat and fly rhymes. Nino Man had a strong verse. He appeared hungry. Fred the Godson said, "I know girls that shoot that look like Snoop from The Wire and Young M.A." I thought that was amusing. Then we have the track A Monster Made It. The drums and sample are fire. For some reason, the vocal harmony here is just giving me the Killa Cam song vibes. Basically, there is just a distinct Harlem flavor to this record. Jim is addressing the critics and the haters. He mentions the speculation of him having a ghostwriter since his flow has gotten tighter. And he also responds to the news of his house being foreclosed. So he lets y'all know the real deal behind what went on. Track 13, Finito, is something like a tribute to Fred the Godson. It was heartfelt since they were close friends in real life. This has a standout verse from Gordo, but I thought Jim Jones held his own. Fred the Godson's wordplay and punchlines were so good, he will definitely be missed. On Gospel, Jim reminds us of his legacy and his Dipset contributions on top of some sped up gospel vocals. It's a braggadocio kind of record, but I love the soulful choir sample. This has that I'm on my way to church feel. The album closes out with I'm Alive. This features more soulful crooning for Marc Scibilia. This song was cool, but it only had one verse and was basically followed up by close to 2 minutes of the beat and then Marc Scibilia singing some more. I didn't love this song, nor did I hate it either. Who knows? Maybe it'll grow on me. Overall, I give this Deluxe a rating of 4 out of 5. Look, here's the reality. Jim Jones has now given us a very solid 3-album run from 2018 to 2020. All 3 of these albums have contained some of the best music in his career. Now, I understand this is just the Deluxe, but it's hard not to view this as a new album. Jim Jones proves once again that with hard work, dedication, and the honing in of one's skill or craft, that anything is possible. While I don't like the songs on this Deluxe quite as much as El Capo from 2019, it is still a great project. That's why I'm going with a 4 out of 5. This was a very solid to strong offering, and by far the best Deluxe album to come out in 2020 without a doubt. Let me say that one more time. This was the best Deluxe album to come out this year. Now, I think he may have overused Marc's Scibilia and Drama B2R a little too much from the hooks, but that's just my opinion. Regardless, the Heatmakerz came through and Jim's bars continued to show improvement. His flow and writing seemed to get better with each release. We gotta give Jim Jones his flowers, man. My favorite tracks include Chasing That Feeling, MMTC, Try Again, Been Like That, Bad Boys, A Monster Made It, Finito, and Gospel. Let me know what you thought about this project in the comment section below. What should I check out next? It's your boy, Mixtape Moth. I'm signing out, but be sure to hit that like button and please subscribe. As always, it's peace and blessings. Jim Jones, El Capo, Deluxe, 1.